Picture this, a group of characters stuck in the woods with a massive angry bear, seeking revenge and the characters needing to fight back as their only way of survival. You're probably thinking, oh, this must be about Cocaine Bear. No, why would I talk about that? This is none other than Grizzly Rage, the first movie to come out from the very unknown Maneater series, and the first of many videos I'll be making about this series. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the hellfire that is Grizzly Rage. So since this is the first episode of a possible 30 video series, I want to take a second to explain how the series will go. After my beautiful, awesome, amazing intro plays, I want to start by giving you details about the history, actors, and the director. Nothing too crazy, but maybe see if one of these actors or directors went on to be great and see how well this movie did in terms of popularity. Next, we'll talk about the movie itself, kind of like a walkthrough of the movie. And lastly, I'll give you my raw, not scripted opinion of the movie and the acting. Then I'll rank it on everyone's favorite SF tier list. But with that being said, let's get started. First, let's talk about the Maneater series in itself. I know. I said I would start with the movie's history, but let's be real, none of you know what this series is, so let's take a second to describe what even is this 28 movie series. The Maneater series is a bunch of made-for-television natural horror films, mostly based in Canada. Now, you're probably thinking, these movies were a bunch of weird sci-fi movies that you stumbled upon when you managed to find movies like Sharknado, or hell, even Three-Headed Shark Attack. And you would be right, except the first 6 films were never released on Syfy, but were released on a very random, on-demand movie central in Canada due to licensing agreements. There isn't much else to say about it since the entertainment industries are very bland and basic, but I guess it's technically still ongoing, even though the last movie came out in 2015. But overall, it's just the basic sci-fi horror series that went on for way too long. Now let's get into the actors and director. This movie really only has 2 important characters. The other 2 don't really have a history in the acting industry, so let's focus on the 2 main characters, Wes and Lauren. Wes being played by Tyler Hoechlin, and Lauren being played by Kate Todd. Tyler has had a more impressive career being in shows like Teen Wolf and starring as Clark Kent in the Superman and Lois TV show. I don't know much about either series, but telling from the ratings on both shows, it seems like he's done all right for himself. As for Kate, she actually is more in the singer/songwriter position more than acting, but she has played Erica in My Babysitter's a Vampire, and that is a show I do remember from my childhood. As for the director, David DeCoto, sorry if I said that wrong, the most he's known for is the Puppet Master movies, which if you're a diehard horror movie fan, you'll know it, but if you're not, well, there's not much else to say about him. Oh, wait. Sorry, I forgot this guy made a talking cat. One of the most revolutionary movies of our time. What could we do without you, David? Truly. In summary, the actors aren't half bad. It's definitely nothing to scoff at, but to be honest, no one is very big in the industry, and as for the director, well, if you love the Puppet Master movies, then you're gonna love this guy. Other than that, he hasn't done much. But now for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for the movie. Alright, before we play the movie, I want to let you know that I'll be breaking up the movie into segments and just basically summarizing the segments and jumping past all the very boring filler parts since I don't want to mess around with getting in trouble with YouTube by just showing you most of the movie, and 2, I don't want this video to drag on for too long. I don't want you guys to be bored and to actually enjoy this video, but from the wise words of one of my favorite YouTubers, Dead Meat, it's time for a title card. I'm sure you guys found that to be pretty epic, right? Flames in the title, and yeah, okay. So since the beginning is just basically an introduction to the characters, what they're doing, where they're going, and an almost 8-minute montage of them driving, allow me to explain what's going on. Our 4 characters, Rich, Sean, Wes, and Lauren, have just graduated either college or high school, and I'm just gonna assume it's college because no shot you come out of high school looking like grown-ass men and women. Anyways, these 4 decide to go on a road trip, but for some reason, halfway through the trip, Rich decides to change plans and break into the Saranic Grotto. It's the woods. He wanted to break into the woods. And for some reason, the other dudes just basically go, "Hell yeah, brother!"
Ladies and gentlemen, a moment of your time. Since we've already partaken of the full-wheeling pleasures of Cache Creek last summer, I say that we just drive the extra hour and hit Saranac Grotto. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah? Dude, come on, let's do it. What do you say? Okay, look, normally, I would agree with you. I would. But, seeing as how we just graduated, I say that for today, we make the rules. So I'm in, baby! Yeah! Check out my
I just want to understand this. You planned an entire trip and you bail in the middle of the trip. Why? But at least Lauren is hesitant on going, right? Well, doesn't matter. She still goes anyways. Overall, I'm guessing you can kind of guess how this will play out. Goes to the woods, breaks into the gate, drives car fast, hits an animal, crashes into tree, car is now broken. I'm guessing you all know what animal they hit. You guessed it, they hit a bear cub, and of course the radiator is cracked, and once the mom starts roaring, they of course book it back to the car and leave. Of course, they can't go far since they need coolant, but this leads us to probably one of my favorite parts. You ready for this? They don't have water. How do you not have water when you planned an entire trip, and halfway through the trip, you're left with one water bottle and just a bunch of empty bottles?
Great. We're gonna need all the water we got. Nice planning. Hey, genius. There you go. That it? That's it. We're gonna need more.
I understand they needed something to keep them stuck in the woods for plot, you know, but this was their best idea. But whatever, let's get to the real deal. Rich and Wes set out to find water, and what do you know, Mama Bear is here. As the two sprint back to the car, Rich hides behind a tree, and when he turns thinking it's clear, there she is in all of her glory, ready to strike. She attacks Rich, then attacks Wes. Lauren and Sean grab Wes and run while the bear picks Rich up with its paws and throws him, then mauls him to death. Earth really buffed bears, man. I didn't know they had thumbs. I thought they had no thumbs. But anyways, they drive away until they start arguing on going back to save Rich, when Wes decides it's a good idea to fight Sean for the wheel, and they end up crashing the car into a ditch. Now, you would think Lauren would be written better by this point, but I'm gonna be honest with you, for about 90% of the movie, she just likes to remind the characters that one, they shouldn't have come here, and two, just contradicts herself not even 10 minutes after she says they need to call for help and they deserve to be in trouble.
Yeah, that was too close for comfort. Yeah. You do realize you're going the wrong way, right? You want me to turn back?
Guys, we need to call somebody.
Who are we gonna call?
Who are we gonna call? A park ranger or somebody to
Call
help?
a park ranger. There's no one out here, and if there was, we get arrested.
Yeah. Maybe that's what we deserve.
Shouldn't have left him.
Yeah, you should have driven us off the damn road.
I told you guys.
How could you just leave him?
What was I supposed to do, man?
Did I not tell you? So we never should have killed it!
Everyone gets it. You're a genius, we're all a bunch of tools.
God, what are we gonna do, Wes?
Wait for help.
Wait for help. God, help from who? Nobody knows that we're out here. You know that, right?
Somebody will figure it out.
Yeah, they're gonna figure out that we went to Saranac brought us to Cache Creek, right? Look at me! How's anybody ever gonna figure that out?
Just make it make sense. For this segment, this is what I meant when I said I'd be skipping some of the random parts that mean absolutely nothing. They basically spend a good chunk getting the car out of the ditch and trying to start it even though the thing is just completely destroyed. And one of them needs to leave to see if they can find help. Wes says he'll do it, which makes a lot of sense since he has running shoes on and looks capable to do so. He even seems to have the smarts to understand what to do when a bear is around. But no, Sean says, no bro, I'll go. We all know I run faster anyways. What? Sean is wearing sandals and needed Wes to tell him what to do. I mean, at least give him your running shoes. What's the point of him going other than plot reasons? But it's fine. Sean goes and cue another montage. This time it's just Sean running. This movie sure does love its meaningless montages and rock music. Fast forward to some poor character development and Sean stumbling on a random abandoned cabin in the woods. And to be honest, this is probably the best part of the movie. He breaks in and finds a bunch of creepy test tube stuff and weapons, which actually could be used for something sinister and scary, but I'll spare you the suspense. These are never explained again. We will definitely see the cabin again, but you know, the cool test tubes with blood in them and all the weird weapons and even why this cabin has so much stuff guarding it. Well, fuck you. You'll never know why. Once Sean is finished searching the cabin, the bear shows up and instead of just running away, he just freaks out and falls over and gets attacked and gets absolutely launched into the chicken coop. And then we pan back to Lauren and Wes with more boring dialogue, just all around meaningless character development. And in comes Sean, all beaten up and bloody. They attempt to patch him up and it just looks so horrible and he ends up passing out. All right, this segment is again very boring and pointless, so here it is. Wes tries to find a signal on the mountain. He can't, then screams, Bear roars, he runs back to the car, and now they're sitting in the car, and Lauren literally becomes the Yapatron 9000. I'm actually just gonna let it play because you guys should suffer through it as well.
Hey, you know, I was thinking, do you remember that party that Ollie had?
Yeah.
Well, I actually borrowed my mom's Volvo that night. When we started getting into the shooters and all that stuff, I figured I'd just leave the car there and walk home and come back and get it in the morning. But of course, the second I'm out there, I'm like, the last thing I'm gonna wanna do is walk home and then come back and get it in the morning, right? So I'm coming down the driveway and the first thing that I do is back straight into a parked car. But the kicker is that instead of getting out and dealing, I just hightailed it out of there. And it turned out to be some neighbor's car. You just wish that you like said something or did something at that moment. I just kept putting it off, and eventually I just figured it would be better just to leave well enough alone. I don't know, I just really regret that.
Why are you telling me this?
After that combo, the bear attacks the car with them in it. No one gets hurt, but I guess the car gets even worse. It pans to nighttime, and now we're watching Sean slowly die from, I'm guessing, blood loss. Before he dies, he tells them about the cabin, since it has bear traps, and that's where our two final heroes will go. Wes and Lauren put Sean in the car and start pushing it downhill, all the way to the cabin. It's basically just another montage of them getting to the cabin, and once they get there, instead of Sean searching, it's just Lauren searching it. So it's really nothing new other than she finds the bear trap and just drops it and screams. I'm guessing when she dropped it, the trap broke, or it was already broken. I don't know, but to be honest, since Lauren is such a useless and stupid character, she did it! Lauren creeps around the cabin more, and again, I have to say this. The parts with the cabin aren't half bad. It has some scary aspects to it and could have been used much more in this movie. It just pisses me off so much that they wasted their opportunity to make this movie a decently bad movie instead of a boring bad movie. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Lauren gets attacked by the bear through the window and falls on the broken bear trap, injuring her back. She manages to make it back to the car, and again, they hide in the car while the bear breaks the back and drags Sean's dead body out of it. This finally leads us to the most reasonable thing they've done the entire movie. Wes takes their jerry can and douses the car in oil and makes a trail. They then lure the bear into the car and set it on fire, where the car explodes with the bear in it.
What are you doing?
Lauren, get out of there! Get out of the Jeep! Come on, go, 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 go!
But guys, the movie only made it to 1 hour and 14 minutes, so we need more content. The bear somehow survives the explosion and looks perfectly fine, and so Wes tells Lauren to get out of here so he can be a distraction. You know, like a little heartwarming sacrifice. Aw, how nice of you, Wes. Well, Lauren doesn't do that and goes back to the cabin to look for a weapon, and Wes takes off his clothes and climbs a tree in the attempt to create some sort of distraction. I guess it's sort of works, but the bear just shakes him out of the tree. Then Wes begins to run back to the cabins and he ends up finding an axe. Meanwhile, Lauren is in the second cabin. Yeah, I forgot to mention, it's like a 2 separate building thing, but she embraces her inner final girl and manages to trap the bear in the cabin. The two share a hug and hold hands as they walk away. Yeah, it doesn't end here. Wes continues to look back, knowing the door is gonna break, says nothing about it, and the bear breaks through. Now, you would think that that axe would come in handy, but it doesn't. Wes falls over and Lauren tries to help him, and the movie just ends with some pretty shitty blood splatter on the camera, and I presume to be Lauren and Wes dying.
Run, go, 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 run! No, just keep going.
Get up,
Keep going.
go.
Keep going.
Come on.
Go. Just
Get
run.
up.
Keep
Let's
going.
get up.
Run.
Please.
Go.
Get up.
Keep going.
Get up.
Keep going.
Get up. Let's please. Get me.
Ah, what an amazing movie, and what an amazing ending. Woo! Yeah! Alright, now that we've reached the ending of the movie, it's finally time for me to just talk about it. So, basically, as you can see, this movie was fucking boring. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. It was extremely boring. And I ended up having to watch this movie 2 times, because after the first time, I was so bored, I completely forgot most of the parts. So, I'm sitting at my desk, having to rewatch the entire movie and script write for the movie. So, it was just hard. It was a lot of work because of how, like, mind-numbingly boring this movie was. It just didn't have very many exciting aspects or parts. The acting was subpar at best, and to be honest with you, I don't blame the actors, I blame the script writing. Tyler did a good job playing Wes, if I'm being honest with you. If he had a better script and actually had better dialogue, he would have done pretty good. He actually had a pretty serious voice throughout the entire movie and seemed like he was good at what he was doing. So I can tell why he went on to be a part of like different movies and shows and all that, because he is decent at acting, not the best, but he did a pretty decent job at it, and you gotta give him credit for that. But again, the script writing was just god awful. It was horrible. And as for Kate Todd, she did all right. It wasn't really that incredible, and I don't want to be rude, but it speaks volumes. She's not really in the acting industry and does singing, so I really don't think she was cut out for the acting industry in the first place. She just wasn't really that great. She didn't have much of an impact on the movie. You know, the one part when she tried to give like a little motivational, you know, I wouldn't even call it a motivational speech, but it was somewhat of a motivational speech. It was so cringe. It just made me visibly cringe because of how weird it sounded. It just wasn't good.
How's anybody ever gonna figure that out? You know what the only way out of here is? On our own 2 feet. Now you coming?
As for the 2 others, they did their parts. Rich died like instantly, so he existed for a solid like 15 minutes, and Sean was fine. Sean did his job, right? He searched the cabin, and that was basically it. So all around, this movie was just extremely boring. And like I said multiple times in the movie description, the cabins were interesting. They were the only parts of the movie where I sat up and thought, okay, there might be something cool, and it ultimately was just wasted. And as for the bear, that's the one thing I'm actually impressed with, because it looks like they got a real bear to be a part of the movie, so not too bad, I guess. I don't know if that's a real bear or not. I sure hope it was, because if you look at the budget for this movie, it was $2 million. Pan that into comparison to other movies. Let's just talk about a movie that I love deeply, one of my favorite psychological thrillers, Cube. You want to know how much money that was? $600,000. Yeah, a movie that is regarded as one of the most incredible underground psychological thriller movies had a lesser budget than this movie. I want to know where the $2 million went is what I'm confused about. You filmed in the forest. That's free. I don't really know what else I could say. Maybe you spent it on the car, but even then, $2 million is outrageous. I just can't understand how you couldn't have put a lot of that money towards the actual set of the movie and making it interesting. It just feels like a waste of money altogether. I'm sorry, but I feel like it was such a waste of time. And like I said, I don't want to keep ripping on this movie. There are some decent aspects to it, I guess. Like I said, Tyler could have been better if the writing was better, and the cabin parts was pretty interesting, I guess. But all around, this movie, it was boring, and literally the first time I was watching it, I was chilling with my fiance, and I was on the verge of falling asleep for most of the movie. So it's a little ridiculous. And as for the ending of the movie, you can kind of tell where I'm getting at with this. It was terrible. The ending of the movie was just a bunch of like, we thought it ended here, then we thought it ended here, but then it actually ended here. It was all over the place. It was way too much, and yeah, no, it was a fucking terrible, terrible movie. All right, and now for the part where I put it on a tier list. So I labeled the tier list a little bit different, and I wanted to take a second to kind of explain how each tier is gonna go. So at the top tier is gonna be exceeded expectations. Now for every single one of these movies, my expectations are extremely low, and the reason why is because I don't think I need to explain that. It's a bunch of, you know, horror sci-fi movies, you know, it's a bunch of just random directors making really shitty sci-fi movies. It's nothing crazy, it's nothing awesome. You know, it's not like I'm gonna go into this movie thinking it's gonna be the next Godzilla -0, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be some revolutionary, amazing movie, okay? I'm going into this movie expecting it to be bad. So if it goes past that expectation to a point where I think this movie should be considered to be a good movie, I will put it in exceeded expectations. As for the tier below it, pretty good would just mean that it exceeded my expectations, but there might be a few pieces that make me feel as if the movie just isn't hitting. Maybe there's some dialogue that just is missing, something just wasn't right, and it just all around wasn't enough to put it in that tier. I mean, it's all right. It's just, it's good, you know? I had fun watching it, but it's definitely not great, nor is it bad. And met expectations is going to be what you think it is. It met the expectation. I go into the movie thinking this is going to be a piss poor acting, piss poor CGI, and it's just a generic movie, right? Generic as I expect. This shit sucks is going to be movies that just bore the living shit out of me and are just not fun to watch. And unwatchable is for movies that I genuinely would rather die than watch this movie. It would be for something that actually is so bad that I can't recommend it to anybody. I would recommend to never watch this movie ever and hope it gets buried into the fucking sand. And for the moment you've all been waiting for, Grizzly Rage. Where should I put it on this tier list? I'm pretty sure you kind of understand where I want it on the tier list. It's going in this shit sucks. The movie was boring. Plain and simple. It was god-awful. I just couldn't enjoy the movie. It bored the shit out of me. You know, if you want something to fall asleep to, turn the movie on. You'll find a way to fall asleep to it. All right, everybody, we've made it to the end of this video. I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching the video through and through if you made it to this part. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it wasn't too boring during the middle or boring anywhere else. If you have any critique of anything, feel free to say it in the comments. I'm willing to listen to anything. If people don't enjoy specific parts of it, feel free to let me know. If you really enjoyed it, feel free to let me know. But for the next episode of the Maneater series, I'll be talking about In the Spider's Web. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey everybody, post ending, if you stuck around for this long, thank you. It's just gonna be a little description of, you know, some things. Just wanted to kind of be a little transparent with you guys. I'm sorry about how late this video took. I promised it would be out in January. I understand that it's not like I'm deep in February and I'm uploading this, but still, I didn't really have much time to work on it until the end of January, and I tried my best to fight getting this thing uploaded and working on it and everything, and it's late, and I feel bad because I feel like I say I'm gonna get something done for you guys, and then I end up just kind of missing on that like mark that I say I'm gonna get it done on. So I'm a little late to a lot of things, and I feel like I should own that up to you guys. So I'm gonna try my best to work a little harder to get things done for you at a quicker time. And this end part is mostly just for this, and that's going to be, I have a membership system now. I have members. So if you guys want, feel free to become a member. If I'm not mistaken, it starts at $2. I didn't set it at a very high number just because I don't need loads of money from you guys. I don't, you know what I mean? If you feel free to be a fucking member, okay? It's your choice. You don't have to. It's just to support me. If you want to show support and become a member, become a member. That's, you know, yeah. If you don't want to, I don't care. You know, feel free. It's up to you. You know, save your money if you don't have money to give to me. And if you do have money to give to me, well, then, you know, pick the biggest pick the biggest option. Pick it.